The journey starts with a single step, not with thinking about taking a step. Jeff Olson, The Slight Edge. You know, Ambitious Vet, I attended an outdoor festival in 2017, which featured the sales expert Grant Cardone, which arguably is one of the top sales gurus of the 21st century, and someone I definitely studied as I was learning how to communicate in a variety of different sales positions out of the Marine Corps. And I just recently posted it on my personal page. If you haven't already, check it out. But here's the thing, is it had me realize that how much I was overthinking the process. I remember being called up to asking Grant Cardone a question, and I was even overthinking the walk up to asking him a question. How many of you can relate to that? And when I finally got up there, I muttered some words out of my mouth and I said, you know, at one point of your life, you were 25 years of age and you were a car salesman in San Diego, California, right? And he was like, yeah, Chris, I was definitely there. Thank you for doing your homework on me. And I was like, yeah, but now you are a lot older. You've built a couple companies over $10 million. And, you know, what would you tell that person that was 25 years of age, just figuring themselves out? And Ambitious Vet, this is what he said, and it was very profound. He said, think and then act. Don't overthink the process. So I would ask you this, Ambitious Vet. Do you feel like you're doing all the right things because family and friends are saying you are, but the what if is still deep inside your heart? Maybe you have the good old J.O.B, but are lacking the structure to fulfilling on what really matters most to you in your life. This episode with the one and only John Lee Dumas of EO Fire, who is an Army veteran turned seven-figure entrepreneur, will spark your fire, passion, and provide the golden grenades you need to keep going inside the trenches.
I mean, the biggest landmine I hit was the imposter syndrome because, listen, I wasn't a good podcaster. I was not a good interviewer. I had no communication skills. I was completely, like the blind leading the blind. I didn't know what I was doing. And so, of course, I had doubts. I had massive fears.
Today's show is brought to you by Original Grain. They make watches with materials that tell a story. Designed in the United States of America, their handcrafted watches feature sustainable, reclaimed, and repurposed material. They believe quality and craftsmanship matter. Original Grain timepieces are made for time well spent. Go and find out why this company raised over $800,000 in 2 Kickstarter campaigns and is 5-star in quality and craftsmanship across the board by simply visiting originalgrain.com. They make it easy with free worldwide shipping and easy returns while making a sustainable impact on the earth with reusable material that leave you feeling bold, unique, and powerful as an ambitious vet. If you haven't already, Ambitious Vet, go and check out originalgrain.com. And if you find any watch for him or her, go in and enter in coupon code AMV Network 10 to get a 10% discount on all their premium watches. Welcome to the Ambitious Vet Podcast, where we believe that if you desire more than you have in any area of life, you have to become more in the process. My name is Chris Hoffman, Marine Corps combat veteran turned social entrepreneur, family man, and personal and professional development leader. On this show, I dive into the trenches, big thinking and conscious living veterans who know what it takes not only pay the bills after the military, but really live with a sense of purpose, satisfaction, and career fulfillment we all desire most after financial stability is no longer a challenge to overcome. Ambitious Vet, if you haven't already, grab your pen and paper. It's time to gain the golden grenades you need to break through your fear barriers and live a life of purpose with passion.
It's time to get into the trenches, dig into your purpose, and fire up your life's fulfillment. The Ambitious Vet Podcast starts now.
What's going on, Ambitious Vets? We're right back inside the trenches to supply the golden grenades you need to advance in your life, career, and business. Today, we got one of the grandfathers of the podcasting world, and he's since then expanded into a lot of other sectors. He's a United States Army commissioned officer veteran turned host of the Entrepreneur on Fire, an award-winning podcast where he interviews inspiring entrepreneurs who are truly on fire with over 2,500 episodes, 1 million plus listens a month, and 7 figures of annual revenue. JLD is just getting started. JLD, are you there, brother?
I know I've got a little gray in the beard, but this is the first time I've ever been called the grandfather of podcasting. I'm not sure that's a compliment. I'll take it as one. But man, you just made me feel old. Just kidding.
Man, you have definitely paved the way for all of us, man. So I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I just want to kind of dive right into this. I mean, you got out of the Army after 8 years of being commissioned officer in the artillery division, right? And in that time, right? I mean, you get out, you're in a new battlefield, the unknown, the uncertainty, and definitely there's no structure for high performing veterans like us that want to perform inside of. So walk us through those first few years of law school, corporate finance, corporate real estate days, and how did you find that aha moment to ignite your fire or your passions?
Well, one small correction. I was actually a tank commander, so I was in the armor branch. Slight little correction there. Death before dismount was actually our motto.
There you go.
But I will say, I call my 6 years post-military, which led up to the launch of my podcast. So post-military to launching Entrepreneurs on Fire was a 6-year gap. And I call it my 6 years of struggle because they were 6 years of struggle. Like I was really trying to find myself. Like I tried a bunch of different careers. I went to law school for 1 semester. I dropped out. I tried corporate finance, and with John Hancock in Boston, I died a slow death in a cubicle before I left. I tried real estate, both on the East Coast and the West Coast, both residential and commercial real estate. Just wasn't finding my jive, wasn't finding my swing, wasn't really understanding like where my place was in the world. But one thing I kept doing during that time was educating myself. I would read books of past great entrepreneurs and businessmen and women. I would listen to audiobooks. That led me to consuming podcasts because it was free, it was on demand, it was targeted. And frankly, that's when I fell in love with podcasting. I just got the medium, I understood it. It was free, it was on demand, it was targeted content. And I saw my future.
Yeah, that's awesome. And on demand is always convenient for all of us, right? We love the on demand and all that. So
I mean, like right now, listen, I'm halfway done a podcast that I'm super into. And as soon as I'm done this episode, I'm going to go outside, press the play button and finish it. Like that's amazing. That on demand is just something that, radio will never have.
Yeah, that's incredible. And I just want to dive into some of the landmines that you hit, right? Because I did a lot of research on you. You have tons of amazing content as far as your story on eofire.com. And, you were doing a lot of the right things, like you were saying in your story, right? Family perceived you as like successful and stuff like that. But what were some of those landmines that you hit as you were going into this new venture of building the empire that you've built?
I mean, the biggest landmine I hit was the imposter syndrome because listen, I wasn't a good podcaster. I was not a good interviewer. I had no communication skills. I was completely, like the blind leading the blind. I didn't know what I was doing. And so of course I had doubts. I had massive fears. I was just, convinced that I was never going to become good at any of this stuff. And that was just some huge landmines, and people hit those all the time. And, they let those landmines kind of take off a leg and they never walk again. For me, like it was taking off an arm, it was taking off a leg, but I would just reattach it and kind of keep on moving, knowing that I wasn't good, knowing that I was struggling. But at the same time, knowing that every time I did that thing, and for me, that thing was podcasting, that thing was interviewing somebody, that thing was facilitating a conversation, I was getting just a little bit better. A little bit better, putting in those reps day by day by day. And a couple of books really helped me out here. The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson and The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. Those 2 books just really hammer home the fact of if you put in the consistent work in the right areas, you're not going to see any changes overnight, over weeks, over months, but over years, you'll see this massive result and this massive return on your investments. And that's where the power is.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love the small steps philosophy, right? Being able to take those small wins on a daily basis to help build that confidence so you can be more effective and efficient in that next mission, Ambitious Vet. So John, man, one of the personal things I love about you in general is you just give. You got tons of resources on your website, and you have millions of hours of content, right? That you've gained through all those interviews of inspiring entrepreneurs like Tony Robbins, Seth Godin,
Barbara Corcoran, Tim Ferriss, and many more. I personally have the Freedom Journal literally right here.
Allah.
Man, amazing stuff of helping scale this podcast. But I mean, specifically, I've even had ambitious vets inside this ecosystem use your podcast journal, and they have a successful podcast now. So it's just absolutely amazing, all the resources that you're being able to provide to help people follow your blueprint and all the knowledge and wisdom that you've been able to gain. So how do we leverage these resources for our own definition of success?
So listen, the biggest thing that you can do as any individual is ask yourself, what is the biggest struggle that my audience has? And that's what I did all along the way. I would ask myself, what is the biggest struggle Fire Nation has? And then I would ask Fire Nation when I had the opportunity via email, social media, whatever it might be, what's your biggest struggle right now? And then I would listen to their answers, and then I would create solutions for them in the form of products or services or communities, the journals, the books, you name it. And it's just grown over time. So for anybody listening that's like, how does John have like all these products and services and all these things? Like, I did not snap my fingers and have all those things. Like, those have evolved over 8 years of me creating consistent content, but always going back and asking that question, what is your biggest struggle right now? And then providing the solution to that struggle.
That's great. Yeah, ambitious vet. Right now, during these times of COVID-19, when kind of life can occur being on hold, what is that thing that you're being stopped by? What's that human capital gap that you could just go to eofire.com right now and start figuring out how to consume that content, right? How to start taking advantage of some of the resources that John has so graciously given a lot of us to help accelerate our learning curve. Go check eofireout.com to make sure you're finding those gaps and also executing on them so you can build confidence in despite of chaos, which we're all good at as veterans, right? So JLD, we got a tradition here, 3 golden grenades, kind of wisdom bombs, life hacks, stuff like that, as far as like emotional intelligence, leadership, mindset, communication, whatever you want to throw at us. But our specific audience is a veteran that's been out for 3 years. They have financial stability, but they're just lacking something in life. What would be 3 golden grenades that you could throw in and keep them unstuck?
Golden grenade number 1, you're not being productive. And you might be being productive in the form that you think productivity is, but you're wrong. You're not. You're producing the wrong content. You're spending your time doing the wrong things. You are being busy, which you are confusing for being productive. The people that are satisfied in life, that are happy, that are fulfilled, they're producing the right content. So that's step number 1. Be productive by producing the right content. Number 2, if you're unfulfilled and unsatisfied, the next grenade here, the next golden grenade is it's all about discipline. And that's something that us in the military understand, but few people do it right when you take away that chain of command that was there for us in the military. So how can you as an individual now be disciplined? And for me, the definition of disciplined is being a disciple to a plan of action. So when's the last time you've actually planned out your day? And the answer is, if you're not happy, you're not satisfied, you probably have never done that on your own. And that's another reason why you're struggling. And number 3, it's all about focus. It's about following one course until success. Not 5, not 10, not 20 like most people do, and they're overwhelmed and they do all those things poorly. It's about choosing one single course and following that until success. If you string together those 3 things, those 3 grenades, that productivity, producing the right content, discipline, being a disciple to a plan of action, focus, following one course until success, you will get to that place of happiness, of success, of fulfillment.
Wow. Yeah, JLD, those are some powerful golden grenades. And I think if this ambitious vet that's listening to this right now just executes that framework right there, which all of us ambitious vets, we know how to follow a roadmap. We know how to follow structure, follow that structure. And I promise you'll be promoted sooner rather than later in your life. Well, JLD, where can people go find out more about all these amazing resources that you have? Maybe they want the Freedom Journal that I have sitting right next to me or the Mastery Journal. Where can people go find out more about you?
So all the magic in our world happens at eofire.com. We have great free courses for every entrepreneur out there for launching your podcast, creating your first funnel, coming up with your big idea. And then, of course, we have links to the Freedom Journal, the Mastery Journal, the Podcast Journal. And I love if you listen to my podcast, Entrepreneurs on Fire. I've now produced over 2,600 episodes and counting. Wow. So keep it coming.
That's crazy. That's amazing. And just quick fact here, Ambitious Vet, I found my first business coach through an interview from one of your episodes like 500 ago. So Ambitious Vet, I intentionally listen to his show every single day. So make sure you're listening to that so you can get the entrepreneurial hacks, the golden grenades that you need to continue to start that business, gain traction, and ultimately be that ambitious vet that you need to be successful. So J.O.B, thanks for joining the show. Thanks for being an ambitious vet. And with that, we'll sign off.
Take care, brother. Thank you.
The Ambitious Vet is available on all popular podcast platforms. Go to vettrainingcoaching.com to subscribe, rate, and share with fellow vets.
Again, today's show is brought to you by Original Grain Watches, a veteran co-founded company that's mission is to create unique timepieces that seamlessly integrate with natural hardwoods and stainless steel. Today, after partnering up with some of the top sports franchises, including becoming the official timekeeper of Wrigley Field, making limited edition collection for the Boston Red Sox, New York Yankees, and Golden State Warriors, they are just getting started. But don't take my word for it. Go check out originalgrain.com. If you find anything that you like, make sure you enter in coupon code AMV Network 10 to take 10% off of each purchase.